So our three speed equations are speed, and speed is abbreviated with a V because it also means velocity. We'll usually talk about velocity, but we're going to start by talking just about speed because we're all familiar with speed. So speed is going to be abbreviated with a V, distance with D, and time with lowercase d. And then our three equations are speed equals distance divided by time equals distance divided by speed, and then distance equals speed times time. Okay? So make sure you don't just write down the abbreviations, make sure you write down the three equations as well, otherwise your homework will be pretty tough. And again, by the end of the year, I could give you just one of these and you would be able to solve for speed, distance, or time. But I'm going to give you, for now, I'll give you all three just to make life a little easier on you. Because you need to know some algebra skills to manipulate the equation. I'm going to wait till everybody's finished writing their notes. And while you guys are doing this, I'm going to pass out what we're going to use for practice. You do not need to write on it yet. And actually, if you could leave it in the front corner or front of your desk where I put it until I ask you to use it, that would be most excellent. You can leave it in the middle of your desk until I ask you to use it. Raise your hand if you need more time on this slide. All right. So here we go. This is where we're going to talk about solving math problems in science. If I can find my clicker that I left. All right. The first year I ever taught this. Don't do it. The first year I ever taught this, I just gave a bunch of equations, was like, hey, here we go. And the now juniors looked at me like, what are you asking us? So instead, I'm going to give you 4 steps. The first step is list what you know. So again, we're at letter D in your notes, solving math problems in science. And the first step to do this is list what you know. And we're going to use these steps not just today, not just on speed problems, but we're going to use these steps on every unit that we have, basically from now until the end of the year. So go ahead and write this down. So the first thing is list what you know. And we're going to go through a sample problem to make sure that you understand what that means. So first, when you're solving a math problem in science, list what you know. Now, I will tell you that even as a college student, these were the steps that I did on much, much more complicated problems than we're going to go through today. So first, list what you know. Second, you need to pick an equation. You need to pick an equation. Is there any table I missed when passing out papers? Pick an equation. Third, plug in your numbers. And if you were a child of the 90s like I was, when you see the words plug it in, you would think of, you guys know those Glade air fresheners that plug into the wall? Mm-hmm. Have you seen those? When they first came out in the 90s, there was this little jingle that went, plug it in, plug it in. I asked Mr. Shan in the earlier class if he remembered, he remembers. And so you're going to plug your numbers into the equation. So every time you go through these steps, I'll probably sing that, so you're going to be annoyed with it, and when you're 40 years old, the only thing you're going to remember from this class is me saying plug it in. And that's okay. You might not even remember my name. And last but not least, solve the equation. So go ahead and write those steps down. This one isn't really a step. You got to show your work. You have to show your work. Now, I will show you what work looks like for these problems. It is not the same as work in math. Okay? So once you have that, you can grab your homework. Once you have all that written down, you can grab your homework sheet and put your name on it. while you're waiting, I would also write the equations down on the sheet somewhere. That'll just make it a little easier when you go to do your homework tonight. So if you're done writing the steps, you can get your homework and write your name on your homework, and then copy down the 3 equations that are written on the board there. So you're going to finish writing your notes, and then write down the 3 equations onto the homework. Raise your hand if you're still writing down notes. Okay. We are going to run out of time. So this is what's going to happen. We're going to go through the first sample problem. And then I want you to try number 2 as homework. So can you put a star by number 2? You do not have to do the back as homework, because we are going to run out of time, and I don't feel confident that you're going to have enough time to practice in class. All right? So let's go through number 1 together. Okay. When we look at the question, a baseball is thrown a distance. The first thing we want to do is recognize that we're looking at distance of 20 meters. What is its speed? So it's asking, what is its speed? I'm going to put a question mark there. We don't know its speed. If it takes 0.5 seconds, this is going to be the time. Seconds, as we know, is time to cover that distance. So the first step is what? What's the first step, Danielle, in solving a math problem in science? That's not the first step. What's the first step that you wrote down? Let's let you know. Okay, so we're going to write down, so I already wrote down B, D, and T on your paper. Turn and tell your neighbor, what do we know right now from this problem? What do we know? Speed, distance, and time. What do we know? Talk to your neighbor. All right. Amanda, what's one thing we know?
The distance is 20 meters.
The distance is 20 meters. What's the other thing we know? Ivan?
The time?
The time is what?
25 seconds.
Yep. 0.5 seconds. And we don't know speed, so I'm just going to put a marker of a holder there as with a question. All right? My next step is what, Arla? Pick an equation, you're right. So I'm going to go over here. I know that I'm looking for speed, so I'm going to take the one where speed is by itself. Okay, so we're going to pick this one. If we were solving for distance, we'd pick the one where distance is by itself. If we were solving for time, we'd pick the equation where time is by itself. So I'm going to pick the equation. So here on your sheet, in this empty box next to number 2, pick an equation. Write down B equals D divided by T. What is our third step, Evelyn? What's our third step? It's right here. What does it say? Plug in your numbers. You know you have to divide. But what our third step is, we have to make sure, if people make mistakes, this is almost always where they make a mistake. They put the numbers in the wrong spot. You got to put the 20 at the top, so you're dividing 20 meters divided by 0.5 seconds. And the last step is what? I'll take a hand on this one. Raise a hand. Fabrizio?
4 meters per second.
It's 40, but you're close. But how did you do it? You solved it, right? The last step is to solve. And so the answer is 40 meters per second to solve it. Okay? It would be divided. But when you divide by half, it's like multiplying by 2. Yep. All right. Take this, and I want you to just try number 2 as homework, okay? If you get more time, great, but I don't know what happened to our time exactly, but we're in out of it. Put this in your physics folder. So if you want to make a note on this, so you don't freak out when you get home and think you have to do the whole sheet, you can just make a note on it. Only number 2, okay? So only number 2, and you're the only class that has to do that. Don't talk to anybody else in any other class. Because other groups have to do that. You don't have to do that. Bye, guys. Sorry.